Good afternoon, cyber traders, and welcome on back here this Monday, June 28th, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. Welcome on back, of course, for our afternoon meeting. I know that we're good to go across the trading room. Great to see all of our students, Kathy, Robert, Norman, Akil, one of our new trial members, alongside Patrick, Norman, who I just mentioned, and alongside him, Chuck, and Debbie. Great to see you all, and alongside all of them, all of us in social media, Facebook Live, and YouTube. Welcome on back. So, without further ado, we got a lot to talk about here for a Monday. Normally things are slow, stagnant. The market's been up and down, but we've had some, pretty good runners across the morning so far and into this time of the day here. So we have a lot to go over. We'll start with what's on the screen here, of course, to begin the ATOS trade. News came out, I think the only news that I saw at least was that they were set to join the Russell 2000 today. There were a few stocks, I'm sure, just, being added, being removed. There were some big moves today, I think. This was not the only stock that we were calling out, actually, in regards to that news, but you could see, at least in pre-market, stock got crushed early on. I mean, from the after hours and then into more so the pre-market this morning, ended up dropping off down towards 750. And then after the open, obviously got crushed, again, dropped off lower, bottomed out essentially right under 7, perhaps 680-ish. And then from there, gotta say, obviously, as you could see, ended up making a really nice squeeze up. So for what it's worth right now, just to start, we'll put this on our afternoon watch list, and we've been calling the stock out all from the morning here, ATOS, just with it near its highs heading into the afternoon. Perhaps we'll see this make even further of a push. But either way, if this can hold over its opening bell print 765, I think that's a very strong sign, at least, just to see the drop off, then the extended move up. So at a minimum, should this drop back down, I would assume 765, its opening print, to be a pretty strong support level. But this looks strong enough as is. I feel like there's a pretty good chance it'll just continue on going. All right, let's see. Brian, live inside our trading room, one of our members here. He picked up 38 cents on Mankind, MNKD. He just got out. He said it took forever, but happy with the result. Brian, where do you end up getting it on that trade from? Let me just go to Mankind really quick. It's probably near the highs if Brian's getting out. Yeah, so, yes, it is, but Brian, you are right as well, my friend. It ended up taking damn near forever. He said he got in from 498, so really good entry point from this morning. Brian, one of our members inside Cyber Group, he had just clocked out right now, so took the money and ran. But yeah, man, as you had said, it's pretty slow, and well, it's at the highs, right? So is there a chance that this can, move up higher, perhaps move up a little bit faster? Perhaps. I'll definitely come back to it at the end of this meeting. We'll see if there's better opportunities than this first. But I would say, if anything, really good decision just taking the money and running, Brian, for as long as it took. You'd hate to have some, wacky 5-10 cent shakedown for as long as you were in the trade. That would just be, pretty disappointing to have happen. So better to get out than hang on. You can get back in, if it ends up making a bigger move. All right, so outside of that, though, we ended up doing really well, though, on a couple of stocks from our morning watch list. The ALF trade ended up making another huge move up, and a lot of that was pre-market, mind you. After the market opened up, it continued to pop once more, but you could see it ended up building up support nicely off of 18 going into the market open, and pre-market, rather. Ended up taking off as soon as the market opened up, like I'd said, from roughly like 19 or 1950 up towards the high of the day, new all-time high right off of 2250, and I'll probably round down, say like 2240-ish. Oh no, on the nose, 2250, it hit perfectly. And from there, ended up coming right back down. So I'll tell you, this was actually a pretty interesting trade if you were able to follow the right levels. So what I mean by that is, for the buying that we saw in this trade off of 19, for the buying that we saw in this trade off of 18 early on, and more so from Friday, from the last previous trading day, we ended up seeing those levels hold pretty nicely from Friday. We figure there's a good chance, at least initially, that they could be support. So what I'm referring to here is really seeing this pull back down, the slingshot right before 10 a.m. Eastern time. If you're able to follow 19 and even 1880-ish, I know I was calling that out inside the trading room earlier, that ended up making a nice bounce point. And then from there, the next big support level was roughly off of 18. So as you could see, those were really the two areas where you had the best success on ALF today. It was like an ugly chart. But for the meantime, it led to a couple of nice bounces. At this point now, and here's the thing, I was playing this earlier today. It's more of like a level 5 stock, and I normally don't trade stocks that are more level 4 to 5. For all of us inside the trading room, at least, you should know that. Like, I'm more geared towards level 1 to 3 trades. Just, they're easier to trade. Why not? right? I always say this, just very stupid reference, but very, 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 very good to go over, let's say. But in the sense of like, who wants to be a millionaire? Let's say if you're sitting down playing that game, who wants to be a millionaire? $1 million prize. It's the final question. I mean, let's say in this case, you had a choice of answering one of two questions to attain the same prize. Would you rather answer a calculus 3 question, or would you rather answer like an elementary school, like second grade question? If it's the same prize, I think I know what we're all choosing, right? So, I normally don't trade these types of stocks for that reason. I did pretty well on this today. I was trading, half position size, 500 shares. I say this because my last trade on this, I ended up taking a 15-cent loss. And, all right, 15-cent loss for as much as I did well on it. It's not the biggest loss, but I checked the float and I was pretty interested in trying to trade this again. Well, for as much volume as this stock was trading today, 35 million shares or 34.5 and counting, it has a 4.3 million share float or something of that nature. So, for as much as this stock ran up from like $5, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, all the way up to 22 today, when's it going to pull back? When's it going to have a down day? I know that there was one over the past week, but really, I mean, for as much as it popped Friday, for as much as it moved up in pre-market, this is not the type of stock you want to get stuck holding on to, right? So I realized that heading into the early afternoon, I ended up getting stopped out on that last trade and took a 15-cent hit. And ever since, I mean, I guess it popped back up briefly, but, since that time, it's just been choppy, pulling back down now. So I don't know. I'm not as interested in this ALF trade for this afternoon, but we did pretty well on it, at least from earlier today. The AUUD, another stock from right now, actually more so from the early or late morning and going into the early afternoon. The stock ended up making a nice pop and then rebroke later on. So, you could see that ended up holding off a 5 support pretty nicely for as much as it popped and ran up. Perhaps it would have even broke lower, but it ended up holding perfectly. I mean, didn't even break below 5, ended up pulling back down there right prior to like 2 p.m. Eastern. You could see that. And from there, ended up making a really nice extended move. So for what it's worth right now, this AUUD stock, I'm not really too familiar with outside of us trading it from the last week. I'll check the float on this. I'm pretty interested just to see. I mean, if this stock is trading 27 million shares today, and prior to the last week or so, this stock was trading 53,000 shares on average a day. I'm assuming it has a pretty low float. There's 11.29 million shares outstanding. Yeah, 7.8 million share float. It's actually bigger than the ALF trade. But either way, I mean, this is pretty similar in regards to low float. You don't want to be stuck holding on to this trade off a dumb false breakout. So, I say that in regards to the last pop, seemingly off of like 620, 625-ish. It ended up snapping back below that price pretty quickly there and dropped off. So, for what it's worth, we'll put this on our list. Still pretty volatile going into this time of the day. Hopefully it builds a higher low and moves back up. If it doesn't, then move on from it. That's it. All right. Leda calling out. Ooh, actually, she was just in the MRIN trade. Leda D inside our trading room ended up picking up just about 15, 16 cents herself. She was in right from like 680 on the trade, calling out the resistance off of 7. So, yeah, this was another one from earlier today, more so pre-market, and then made a huge pop, like seemingly out of nowhere. I'll tell you the truth here. I'll tell you about my wins, my losses, but I like to say I have good call outs. I couldn't have been more wrong on this trade going into the late morning, early afternoon. So I'll actually zoom in on that pretty quickly because it was just the few minutes before this big pop and halt. So very similar for as much as this stock ended up trading over the last few days, let alone today. It was moving back up. It was breaking above 550. And at first, I thought there was a chance it could move up higher. All right, cool. We had it up in our trading room. You're calling it out. It popped up at first, and then it ended up snapping lower. It broke below, I guess, like 545, you could say. And, at that point, off of that type of pattern, much more often than not, that's a wrap. It's more likely to continue to drop off over time, at least, in the short term. Maybe later on it will pop. But I said, that looks like it's over for the MRIN trade, huh? And then what, like 3 minutes later, 4 minutes later, this thing just out of nowhere popped right back over 550, ended up getting halted over 6, and then obviously since has been a nice pop going into the afternoon, trying to break higher off of 7, at least as of now. So I don't know. I feel like this stock's been so choppy. I mean, I was wrong earlier. If I'm wrong earlier, there's a better chance of me being right the second time here than pushing up higher now. I'll put this on our list if it can get back over 7. If there's one more break over 7, perhaps this MRIN trade can make the run. Right? Lita says, better safe than sorry to take the exit that she took at least there. I'd say so, right? Look where it's at now. And Patrick, too, picking up 37 cents on his trade. Robert inside our live trading room saying the MRIN was my big win today. Well, congratulations, Robert. You know, for all of us in social media, if you're looking to join us live inside our trading room, I just pop the banner up. Just go right down to the banner below and just to sign up there. Open Monday to Friday. But for all of us there, like Michael and Patrick and Robert and Leda, you know, and you know, a lot of us, you know, otherwise, we're doing pretty well so far. I want to go across the gainers and losers list here otherwise to see what else we got. So, you know, we have 3 stocks on our main list. We'll come back to the Mankind trade I said. You know, that's kind of on the side. The hell is this trade? QADB trading 49,000 shares today. Has to either be the lowest volume buyout I've ever seen or I don't know, maybe some sort of glitch on the chart in relation to a dividend. That happens on TradeStation platforms at times. Either way, skip over it. That MRIN trade, unfortunately, might be on the way down. So, you know what? I'll even come back to that. It's on our list for the meantime, but I might pull it if it ends up looking pretty ugly. NTLA is out of our price range. There's the AUUD popping right back up there over 6. All right, so that one still looks good. SNR, this looks like a buyout. Just going to skip over that in terms of like finding out the news. But yeah, this RSLS trade, pretty low float, ended up making a big pop. It looks like back like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, ended up snapping back down. I think this stock, no, I don't want to talk out of line. I will check for this one briefly. I know there's a stock ABUS that was out there, like in terms of like hepatitis news, hepatitis B or something. The RSLS trade, if Benzinga is even going to give it to me here, it's kind of spinning in its wheels. TikTok. All right, you know what? Never mind. It's not going to spit out. Oh, there we go. Of course, stupid Benzinga Pro here at the bottom of my page here. You folks can't see that. But nonetheless, for RSLS, shares trading higher after hedge funds Armistice Capital showed a 50% ownership stake in the company. That's it. Pretty anticlimactic news for as much as we waited there. But RSLS ended up making more of a pop heading into the early afternoon, seemingly off of 7, but going into like $7.20. It broke out from there, held pretty nicely as that price as support, and pushing back up for right now. So it's like right back to its opening price for the meantime. I don't know. I'll come back to this at the end. I don't really feel a need to put this stock on our watch list for the 31+ million shares it traded. It ended up dumping off all the way from the high here in pre-market. Ended up popping and dumping back down once. I want to see more out of it before I put this on our list. Still pretty active, though. I do like that. Gray was looking so good up until, I mean, obviously here off the highs, ended up false breaking from 7. You would have hoped to have seen a higher low build and then the move back up, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen now. So again, as much as we ended up trading Gray, I think it was from Friday last week, if I'm not mistaken, ended up making a big kind of like drop, then pop back up. So we called this stock out. I think it was even Friday afternoon, but you know, between then and then now, this run up that we caught today, yep, there's the snap down. All right. New IPO, ALZN, ended up making this big run going into the early afternoon, you know, from 9 to 12 plus, and you know, back down now. It hasn't retested 10 as support. So if you're looking at this trade for the afternoon, I would assume for this to test 10, which means I would assume for this to snap back down lower pretty soon. But I don't know. Empty order book. Not really too keen on that. I like the run from earlier, of course, but at this point right now, volume totally died off on this trade. So maybe keep it in mind for tomorrow. I don't know. Jinko Solar ended up making a big push after the market opened up this morning, ended up breaking higher from 48 later on. It's at the highest, I guess, much closer to its highs than the lows. But yeah, pretty flat. Again, empty order book, pretty expensive. All right, just checking across the gainers list here, folks. The market's, you know, up technically on the day. Not a whole lot that's really familiar name-wise that's up right now. BTX, former runner, up 13+%. Ran earlier this morning, but not a whole lot cooking on it right now. All right, that's fine. We'll hop over to the losers list, folks. And really quick with that, I'm happy I actually just quickly glanced over at the live trading room. Question from one of our members, Brian and Norman, actually cleaned up on Atos for about 30 cents. I'll get to that trade in a second. It's already on our list. But Brian with a quick question, he says, same with Torch, TRCH, going to MMAT ticker symbol change. So that's actually something I was going to jump to here. It's number 5 on the losers list. So I'll get to that, I'm sure, in just the next few minutes here. But we'll hop over to the losers side, down 47+%. CVM, I don't know what happened here, but stock got hammered after the open. This wasn't even pre-market, more so after the market opened up. Got halted 2 times on the way down, once on the way up, and then just flat since. So we had fun on it earlier, but yeah, show's over on that for the meantime. EXCL, familiar name. I haven't traded this in quite some time, though. I mean, I say that just years ago, probably 2.5, 3 years ago at least, was the last time we were like more seriously trading the stock. I think it like fell out of price range for a while, but nonetheless, right now it's on the way down, shortable near the lows, hanging off 18. I don't mind slipping this on our main list for right now. All right, so I guess that leads me to MMA2, right, Brian? So formerly Torch, TRCH, there was some news that came out with Torchlight, and then this company, Meta Materials, they didn't call it a merger, but it was some business combination agreement, however they phrase it. That's a merger to me. But nonetheless, I think it also had to do with 2-to-1 reverse split also. So that's why now you can see the stock is like $8. I think normally Torch was like $5 and under when we last traded on Friday. So down another 18+% today, this new ticker MMAT. I'm in this trade right now. So full disclosure, I was going to get to this, and I always get to this whenever I'm in trades, in front of you folks here during the meeting. But I ended up entering this trade just a few moments ago before I started this meeting. I'm in exactly at 8. So, I was watching this earlier. I wish I got in off of 8 earlier when it ended up running from 8 to 850, or actually from like 775, broke over 8, ran up to 850. My belief here is that if 8 holds, if this doesn't break lower from 8 or like 795, that there is a pretty good chance that we could see some short covering into the close for this to maybe pump up $1. I'm not like throwing a dart on the wall and hoping that lands when I say that. So if it breaks from 8, I'm going to get out. Actually, last time I traded the stock in front of some of us on social media, those on Facebook Live and YouTube, I ended up getting out of this trade in front of you, I told you, and then it broke down like 20, 30 cents lower into the afternoon. You got to know when to fold them. So that's my game plan on this trade here. Again, I'm in long from 8. We'll see where it goes. But, for right now, I actually like it because it's down a lot. That's why I believe there's a chance we could see some short covering. So this MMAT, we don't have too many symbols on our watch list here for the afternoon. We'll add this. Why not? There's a little pullback. I might be out of this trade sooner than I think. All right, so let's see what else we got here, folks. I have my stop set, if anything, but BTU down 10+%. Looks like it just broke lower here from 7. I don't know, kind of slow. The MMAT is relatively slow, but that one I feel like has been a sharper move over the last weeks. So we're pretty familiar with that. That's why I'm adding that to our list, and this one not as much. All right. There's actually a lot that's down big, as I go down towards the bottom of the losers list here. There's still stocks that are shortable down like, 8, 9%. Looks like gold's down big. CRC. No, this one's not really trading a whole lot of shares. CDEV, pretty slow. I'll tell you, that might just about wrap it up for me, folks. If there's anything else that you see up, down, left, right, more than 5%, just call it out in the chat boards. Let me know. OCGN, I want to add to our list so bad because I feel that this can make a really sharp run if it could re-break over 850, but just look at the chart. Just looks so staticky. So I've had a couple of losses on this trade today, like really like tiny, like 2 cent, 3 cent. But, you know, A, those losses add up the more that you do them, and B, just look what happened. So after the second loss, I stopped getting back in on this trade. Maybe if it could break over 850, I'll jump in. But for right now, it's not as worth it for me to put this on our list. Guy from Benzinga Pro here, just checking out the signals feed here. XELA is up 8+%. It's over 150 right now, or just tested and broke over 150. Not much prints over 150 in terms of like time and sales. Very little. I would assume this to snap back down relatively quick, and if it could re-break over 150, then I'd be interested in re-jumping in or jumping in from that point. But I'll slip this on our list, the XELA stock. All right, from Mitch joining us a bit late, and before him, I'm sorry, actually, let me get to Nicholas first. Nicholas, one of our members here, typically inside the Cyber Group room, joining us on YouTube today. He says, Workhorse was a good trade this morning. Do you think or do the EVs have a push going into the close? This is proving me to think that, yeah, that answer is going to be yes. It's already pushing up from 17 up to 1750. So, look for a higher low to build from this point, even on Workhorse, but this looks really strong. Nikola, not as much. Neo's at the highs. It's on the way up to 50. That's for sure. I'll add Neo. I'll add the Workhorse trade. Both of those look great. Probably add Ride. Yep. I'll add Ride too. You know what the issue is? On the gainers list here, there's more stocks that are up like 10, 11+%. So, these that are up 6, 8, 10%, I'm not finding them on the gainers list here. They're not up enough, I guess, but they're all good, great calls, right? PLTR, not an EV stock, but familiar name. Just wanted to check in with this quick. Not much going on there. Atos already on our list for Mitch. PRPH, bit volatile, but moving off of news. Volume's waning down there a bit over the last few minutes, so I'd pass on that. This Atos, by the way, I just kind of like flashed over this fast, but yeah, this is already on our list, but there's a reason why this is going to be at the top. This one's still pushing up really nicely, ended up dipping under and over from 820, and looks like a ton of volume just got filled over the last minute. Let's see. Wow, 51K prints at 828, 834. Looks like this is really strong into the close. If this ends up shaking down, I would really look for support to build off of 8 or even 790-ish. That's if it ends up dropping from this point, but it still looks really strong, though. You see this make a move perhaps up to 850 first. From Michael inside Cyber Group, LI at the high of the day, another EV play. Yeah, it's hard to not take this alongside Neo and Workhorse and Ride. VTNR from Norm. Getting a little choppy over 10, but now it's back over the level perhaps it's going to run. This stock came out with news like a month ago in relation to like a $25 price target. So we ended up trading this stock on the way up a few times, but as you can see, died off. And, pushing back up here, I like that. And it's up 7+%. So, it's hard to not put this on our list. We're familiar with the stock. Order book looks pretty nice, pretty liquid book, just like it was about a month ago. So, that's pretty good. All right, so folks, I'll tell you, we have a pretty good list now at this point. I'll check back in on 2 stocks, and that's just about it. The Mankind trade, I said we were gonna, put on our side list. It's like a grinder type of move. It's just like penny by penny. So, if you're looking more for a level 1 stock, you can't really go wrong with this. But otherwise, like this probably won't get you a whole lot cent per share wise. And yeah, RSLS here we're gonna write off. This was on our side list, and looking at this now, we're just gonna scratch it. All right, from Debbie, she's asking, what is bookmap level 4, otherwise as we nickname show for the MRIN trade? Debbie, give me a quick couple of minutes here. I'm going to jump off the mic. I'm going to copy and tweet the pics, and then I'll copy and paste the picture of bookmap just for all of us inside the trading room. All right. And that segues me perfectly to all of us on social media. So with that in mind, folks, we're going to wrap it up for this afternoon. Make sure if you haven't done so already, just to like, subscribe, notify right on our YouTube channel, that being youtube.com/cybertradingu. Otherwise, just feel free to join us live inside our trading room. If you're looking to check out that bookmap picture, perhaps on the MRIN trade, go right down to the link on the banner below just to get yourself started. And then I look forward to seeing you there coming up for this afternoon's trading. For all of us there right now, like I said, just give me a couple of minutes and I'll be back on the mic pretty shortly from now. I'll talk to you soon.